Hi, I'm Jack Baruzzini, and you're listening to The Secrets of Stargate, where we talk about the hidden meanings and deeper layers found in the Stargate movies, TV series, and more. And joining me today are Father Cory Sticha. Hi, Father.
Howdy, Jack.
And Lisa Jones. Hi, Lisa.
Hey, Jack.
And Victor Lambs. Hey, Victor.
Hi, Jack.
Today we are discussing the 13th episode of Season 5, Proving Ground. O'Neill is leading training for recruits to prepare them for off-world missions. During one exercise, after performing poorly on their final mission, the recruits believe that they have been scrubbed out of the Stargate program. Things change when the SGC is infiltrated by a hostile alien presence, and the team of recruits must help O'Neill infiltrate the SGC, rescue Carter, and shut down the Stargate. Or do they?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this episode, Father?
You know, it's one of those episodes that I didn't remember fondly, and I still won't remember it fondly, but it's not as bad as I thought. As I thought I remembered it to be. It was okay. It was cute. It was more or less a bottle show. Just kind of a quick and dirty show. It really wasn't much. And when I say quick and dirty, there's actually in the wiki that they had to add like scenes because it was too short. But yeah, it was okay. It was an episode. Now we'll have to talk about the Cylons invading SGC, but that's another story.
Yeah, I was about to say they're so worried about an alien presence when they have a Cylon with them the whole time.
That's right.
What about you, Lisa?
I'm kind of with Father Cory on this one. That when I watched it originally, I do remember this episode back then. I didn't really like it. Haley drove me crazy. I didn't think that she, gelled. She just kind of had this smugness about her that she didn't fit in with the team and that she was above it all. But watching it back now, I don't see that as much. And I liked it more than I did originally. So, I can appreciate it for what it is now. I'm not sure I did back 20 years ago. But it's cute in parts. The SG1 team gets to kind of act out of their usual range and in character, but a little, like Daniel getting all excited about being to sit in Hammond's chair. And, there's some cuteness to it, but overall, it's there. Better than some, not as good as others,
Yeah, I thought it was fine. It is basically a cut and paste of the Next Generation episode Lower Decks because it was written by the same writer. And so I think he just recycled his script. But overall, I thought it was okay. It was decently enjoyable. I have a lot of questions about their stun weapons that they suddenly have, which I don't think we've seen before.
We have.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, they're from a previous episode where they went onto the planet where the Jaffa were fighting each other, remember?
Yeah,
and
War
then they had
games
to show,
or whatever it was called.
Yeah. Rules of engagement.
Rules of
That's
engagement.
right,
That was it. Yeah.
the Entars. Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's something that you'd want to use more often.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
well,
it's
they
kind
obviously use it for this.
Yeah.
kind of fun that they remember they had it in their arsenal and brought it out.
True.
We'll say, though, you mentioned the Lower Decks episode, which was the inspiration for the Star Trek series. And the TNG episode was much better than this, though.
I agree.
Yeah. I mean, in that episode, you actually knew the characters a little bit better. There was actual drama going on. There's a very strong story point. It's a much stronger episode than this one, where you learn, I think, one superficial attribute of each character. Satterfield likes Daniel Jackson. Gorman is like, cannon fodder. Elliot is indecisive. Haley is Haley. And so you don't really care about the characters at all. You mentioned they had to pad this for time. They could have just had a scene with them saying it's like, yeah, I'm from Chicago, and man, growing up on the streets, it was really, really tough. And so that's why this means the world to me. And, my grandmother had to do this and Aunt May had to do that. Mm-hmm. And so, but we don't get any of that. It's just, they're completely two-dimensional cardboard cutouts. And so you don't care about them. And as a result, you're like, why are we spending the episode on this? Is a filler episode. I mean, plain and simple.
Yeah.
And it's the third Earthbound episode in a row. I mean, granted, one of those was Wormhole Extreme, but it's like, let's get off the planet already.
Does that mean we have big things to come?
Well,
We're saving money on the planet?
that Grogan, he got shot multiple times. And I'm surprised they didn't have the scene of him pulling out the picture of his girlfriend. Oh yeah. When we get done with the training, I'm going to go and marry my girlfriend. And
Yeah.
So here, sign the life insurance policy. Don't worry, we have plenty of time for that. As he's walking the Hot Shots reference there.
Nice. Yeah, and that's why I saved you for last, Victor, because I knew that you really did not like this episode and got some of that right there.
It's an unforced error. I mean, they could have made it better than it was. The story, this is 2001, so everything had to have a twist. This is 2 years after The Sixth Sense and, a few years after The Usual Suspects. And so everything now has to have like this twist ending is what we're starting to see. And this starts to carry over into television. And so it's like, ooh, well, is it really a training mission or is it not? And then at the end, it's like, ooh, is it really a training mission or is it not? And it's like, ooh, there's a twist, but it's not really a twist because it's been a full episode of just them being put through training missions. So it's just really stupid. I mean, it's really stupid a time waster. I mean,
and that was one of my biggest problems with it was the fact that right off the bat, like, when the dudes pull up in the car, I'm like, this is obviously part of the test. Like they don't, maybe I'm just used to that or something, but it's very obvious that the entire thing is a test the whole time. And every single twist is just, all right, it's just another layer of the test.
Well, just the fact that Jack is, he's on his cell phone and he's using the code words and everything, but he's making sure to do it like this so that they can hear him.
Yeah.
Right.
And that they're not using real weapons, they're using their stun weapons. And the best part I thought was when she shot the dude.
Yeah, with the live live ammo. Yeah.
Live. Mm-hmm. Yep.
But even then, I feel like they've obviously been through like basic training or.
Well, they're academy grads. They've been through 4 years of Air Force Academy.
Mm-hmm.
So I assumed that they'd be able to tell if someone was shooting blanks at them, like. Maybe not in the heat of the moment. I mean, I have no experience with this whatsoever. But I feel like there'd be something to tip them off.
Well,
the
fact that you don't have the bullets ricocheting off of the
right
concrete.
Yeah.
But again, like you said, it's the heat of the moment. They don't know that this is fake. They don't know that, and they haven't been in a combat situation.
Yeah.
Because they don't do live fire exercises where the bullets are coming at them. They do the live fire where it's, you're walking through a training room and it's full of things that you shoot with live fire, not people.
Right. And so this is something that you might know, Father Cory. Does the military ever do training like this where they fake out people?
Yeah. Well, maybe not so much faking out. It's possible. I was actually thinking about that. It was regular about once or twice a year at the Air Force Base I was at in Southern Illinois, Scott Air Force Base. They would do up for exercises, opposing force.
Mm-hmm.
And so they would, and it was mostly for like the security forces and people like that. But it would be things like, okay, so we're in an Air Force base literally in the middle of the United States. This is right outside of St. Louis, Missouri. And so it'd be things like anti-war, anti-nuke protesters raid the base. They rush the gate. How do you handle that? Things like that, terrorist attack or something like that. Nothing like a full military attack, like the Canadians decided to attack the United States. Nothing like that. They do that at other places, and there are exercises where you hear of, where they'll have the fighter jets and all these other, the refuelers and everything go to Nellis in Nevada and do that kind of training as well. But as far as like all of a sudden, oh no, the base is overrun. Here, take this gun suspiciously loaded with blanks.
Yeah. So they don't ever do anything where the people who are in the training are not aware that it's a training, because I feel like that'd be a real safety hazard.
Yeah, I don't remember ever hearing about anything like that, and they definitely don't do anything like that at basic training. I mean, So no, I would be very surprised if they would do any kind of exercise like this, where especially the double layer, where we're done with the first exercise, and oh no, something happened, and we've got to do this. Oh wait, this actually ends up being a second exercise. No, it's they know it's coming, and of course the those who are involved in it are expected to perform as if it was the real deal.
Right.
Because same thing they would do with medical. They would. I remember again at the base I was at, there was lots of grass inside the flight line area, and so they could set up their tents and everything and do triage, medical triage and stuff like that. And again, have people volunteer where they'd actually get put on like the stage makeup and stuff like that, like they've got a gash through their cheek or an arm cut off or whatever that they have to figure out how to handle that and stuff like that. So I never did that. I never had the opportunity to do it. And I probably should have, because it probably would have been a lot of fun to be the guy laying there with my arm,
Yeah.
So you just mentioned the whole thing with twists, and I feel like what they were going for at the end, with it being a second fake out where he has to go into the gate room and pick her up, I feel like that they were trying to do a reverse twist where, because the obvious thing is, now something's really going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But it was so obvious from the beginning that it was still fake that it just didn't land.
Well, and they really didn't try to like fool the audience or anything, because they cut back to like the my favorite room in the SGC, that command center on level 16 or wherever it was, with like
a little
all
security room.
Yeah, the little operations center there, and they're like, did he fall? They don't say, did he fall for it? But they're like, what's he doing? Like, and you're like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And the only point I was watching this, I was like, okay, so what point are we supposed to think it's fake versus real? And when Haley did like shoot the guard, you're like, oh, well, maybe now we're supposed to, now we think it's real, right? But but then Haley was in on it and stuff.
I think that was supposed to be part of the twist, right? That Haley was in on it.
Yeah, and that's why she's the one who got the with quote unquote live ammo.
Yeah, which is, again, this is like really dangerous if you don't tell these people, because I could see one of them just like going nuts and like grabbing like a pipe off the wall, right, or something, and I don't like
turn his gun around and start smashing with the M16.
Yeah.
Well, were they not at all surprised? So he's surprised in the original exercise that O'Neill was taken out and all this, but then look how easily they shot Teal'c in the conference room.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
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 I did like Daniel when he's talking to Jack. Now, you did tell him, just take me prisoner, not shoot me, right?
Right.
And you see Jack just kind of a smirk, like, sure.
and he said this time.
This time.
Yeah. Which tells you there's history. It's
you
like early
Jack.
Episode where Jack, what was it? They keep running into each other in the hallway.
Yeah.
Which was that? Was it Window of Opportunity?
Yeah.
Oh, where he opens the door?
Yeah.
Where Teal'c opens the door?
No, I was thinking where Jack's talking to Daniel in the hallway, and someone keeps coming around. Is a Siler coming around the corner and bumps into him, and everything goes flying.
Yeah, that was
over and over and over.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. Like, oh, this time are they gonna go easy on me?
Well, I love it. Jack didn't even respond. Daniel's like, Jack?
Yeah.
Click.
He puts the phone down slowly,
But Daniel enjoyed that a little too much, did he not? Like, oh, this chair is comfy.
This chair is comfortable. I want one of these. Yeah.
And then when he shot everyone in the warehouse and he blows his gun and, it's a Western or something.
Well, they had the voice changer for the make it sound like they were going
cool effects.
Yeah.
It would have been hilarious though if this had been the episode of Next Generation, right? Where like someone had to the cadet had to like bust into Picard's office, his ready room, and like stun him with a phaser or something. I don't know. Wouldn't that have been like weird?
Hammond? You want Hammond stunned?
Yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't see Picard going along with that. He's way too uptight.
Yeah. Not even on Captain Picard Day.
I feel like the best parts of the episode are the little cutaway scenes you get with Daniel and Teal'c just chilling.
Yeah.
Those are fun to see.
Well, actually, even Jack, when he's kind of, I mean, first of all, you can tell he does not like doing the training. He does not like doing the testing. And he's just yelly and growly and And then it's like, well, do you remember what you remember what it was like? You know, and I wasn't like that. And you remember when you were that age? I was never that age. Okay.
Yeah, no, that was the best scene because
Yes.
you dig into more of how, so Jack's getting older, right? He's the leader of the outfit. He's been there since day one. He's getting older, but he's not going to be there forever. Sooner or later, they need to turn it over to the younger crowd. But he realizes how dangerous it is. He's seen people die off world. And I can imagine there, so there's two kind of things going on where he doesn't want to age, he doesn't want to turn over the reins. And especially he doesn't want to see these kids be sent off world to die. So I thought that scene with Carter, while it's funny, in parts, it's also very touching. I think it's the best scene in the episode.
Yeah.
And that was the add-on scene.
Oh, really?
That was added on because they were short in time.
Who wrote that scene, I wonder?
I don't know, but
Couldn't have been
I
the
agree
writer
with
for
you.
the-
I love that. It's just so, like you said, poignant in a way and deep, but it's also funny just watching the two of them interact in that way.
Yeah.
And then there's a whole shipper Jello thing, which the red and the blue Jello. So anyway.
Was that a thing? I didn't know that.
That's
Was
a
that a
thing.
Matrix
Them eating
reference, or-
Jello is a thing.
Oh, okay.
Which I read somewhere that the red and the blue was originally chosen because they were bright colors and they thought it would film well. But it became a thing representative of their moods and the two of them. And we get more Jello.
Oh, okay. I'll have to keep an eye out for that.
I know y'all are excited.
Just make sure to not just Google Jack O'Neill's Samantha Carter Jello.
No, probably not.
No.
Eating Jello.
I don't even know if that might be safe.
I don't know. Let's just not Google it.
Don't Google it.
Don't Google anything.
You might be safe if you search on the Stargate command
There you
wiki.
go.
Then you might be okay. But
Even then, I'm not gonna risk it. Yeah. I don't know. I didn't hate it, but you're kind of bringing me around to your point of view, Victor. I've got to say,
I
the more
mean,
think
it's-
about it.
It's a functional episode. I mean, it's not a train wreck, but it's just kind of there, and it could have been so much better.
But you also think that if you're the casual fan, it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's fine. There's a lot of cute team moment things, interactions, and it's the next, kind of thinking, oh, are they going to do a spinoff with these people? Like, what's going on? And
Stargate High.
yeah.
But I agree with, I think it was you said this, Victor, that they didn't give us any depth to those characters.
Yeah.
Was it you? And Lieutenant Elliot really irked me. And I think because I didn't know who he was as a person.
Right.
Well, and the fact that he's failed 2 exercises already. Granted, he did okay on this one when he thought it was real, but I mean, he's still, he still failed the other 2 exercises.
Yeah.
But did he fail because Grogan keeps getting shot? I'm just saying.
And they passed Grogan too. I mean, and he's the one we know most about, is that he's just, he gets shot a lot and stuff.
He's a bullet sponge.
Yeah. And I did like how, so there's one of the exercises, they have to, retrieve an alien device, and then they open it up, and it's actually, going to explode. It's rigged to self-destruct, and it's counting down, and Elliot makes the decision to just, book it out of there. And then in the background, they have the device explode, and it's a pretty substantial explosion. If the cadets were actually sitting there working on it, they would have blindness and face burns.
There's a
and
bunch
stuff.
of fireworks. Yeah.
Yeah, it was it was, a pretty big explosion. It didn't just go beep, you are dead. It, so if they had stuck around to actually try and defuse it, they would have had pretty bad burns and probably be deaf or something.
Maybe that was just the way to filter out the really dumb people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's another thing, though, with Elliot. I would not send this guy off world. He is so insanely gullible. He would get tricked so easily by any aliens. If he's going to fall for this, he's not going to be good in a gold impersonation scenario.
Just send him to the gamekeeper planet, and you'll never have to hear from him again, because he'll just be in the pods forever, saying, "Oh, I guess I'm watching my parents die again." Whoop!
Oh,
how is this?
Team Jake.
Team Jake. Yeah. Don't let go of that rope, Jake.
Yeah, I will say though, they did a lot of damage to the SGC. How many bulkheads did they have to cut through to
Oh yeah.
to get down
Yeah.
there? I mean,
They did like the little hand waving away. It's like, gosh, it sure seems inconvenient having to like, don't the people mind like, like having to pretend being shot like every week or something for these things? And they're like, no, they welcome it because, it helps, train the people and stuff. It just seems very inefficient.
Well, how long have they been doing this?
it sounds like they've been doing it for
Yeah.
several months.
Yeah.
Because they had a line about how shutting down the SGC for
Mhm.
months, but
Well, you think about how many SG teams we've lost.
Yeah.
So I
we
guess
get a new team.
Yeah.
a new
SG.
team, SG17.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Elliot's on it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Lucky them.
So now we brought it up earlier, but we should mention that there was a Cylon
There what?
invading SG1.
Yeah.
So Grace Park played Lieutenant Satterfield, who was number 8, who was Athena and Boomer on
Mhm.
on BSG. So
Yeah, and I looked up the other 3 actors, and none of them have really gone on to do much else. Although Elliot, the main guy, his wife was actually on an episode of Atlantis I saw, like as a guest star. So
Oh, cool.
got that
I did
hookup
see
there.
that Grace Park was the only one of the 4 who this was her only Stargate appearance.
Yep.
The other 3,
Ah.
well, obviously Haley had been on twice, and I think Elliot's in 3 episodes, and Grogan's in 2.
Oh, okay.
So it's just her and I guess that's because she probably went on. This was 2002, and Battlestar
Yep.
premiered in 2004.
The miniseries
right?
was 03, so
Okay.
it's probably soon after this that was
Yeah.
being made.
yeah, they probably started filming right after this then.
Yeah.
If
And
they
I
weren't
think it
already
was
in
in
the
Vancouver
process.
also.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I just thought she was cute. I mean, better in Battlestar Galactica, but in this one, I just thought that's the word that came to mind. It was like she was so cute, the way she was like, Daniel's cute, and I'm gonna protect him, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
that was. But that's how Haley called her out.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Haley's the one who ratted her out. Like she just thinks he's cute. I'm like,
shut up.
what is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Not a team player, Haley.
Yeah.
She was in on the whole thing, so
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
of course, and Haley could be the mini Sam again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with the nanobots and stuff. Yeah, they probably put Haley on like all the exercises, right? So this is probably like her 7th or 8th time like going through this. Conceivably,
Possible.
right?
That's true. Mm-hmm.
she's not good enough to actually get on an SG team, so she just gets to do this.
So when do I get on the SG team? I've now like passed like 18 people on SG. Oh no, Haley. We got
Yeah.
one more group
Well,
of cadets.
One more group.
She does get mentioned later as being on one of the
Oh, good.
carrier
Mhm.
ships.
Yeah, she's around.
Oh, cool.
But we don't see her, but she does get mentioned. Oh, she was on the George Hammond.
Oh, okay. Excellent.
I
Nice.
like how O'Neill says she's, what is she like, all 4'9", fighting whatever.
Yeah, 4'9" fighting
I
machine.
looked. She's 5'4",
Yeah, she didn't seem 4'9".
so she's taller than me.
You got to remember they're
So-
short.
Same height as
They're
my
shorter
wife.
in Hollywood than they say they are.
Yeah, that's because
Yeah, I mean-
everyone on SG1 is like ginormous.
Yeah.
Yeah, as they demonstrated in last week's episode, you can't tell on the camera.
No, you
Yeah.
can't.
Right.
Yeah.
And I feel like again, this is the pattern of episodes where Teal'c really has literally nothing to do except he has like 3 lines. I feel like in the whole episode.
And be background. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like him playing with the little magnifying glass
Yeah.
there in Hammond's office.
they should have had a callback to Window of Opportunity and have him be juggling the golf balls.
Oh yeah,
that would've been
that'd be
fun.
Oh
good.
yeah. Yeah.
And he got zatted awfully easy or shot
Yep.
with the Entar.
Intar.
Intar, yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, so they had this. They used the Zats. Did they disable the 3-tap function on them? I guess because I don't feel like they mentioned
I don't
that.
think we've seen that since
No.
like season 1,
That got, well, yeah, the Zats didn't get released, or
season 2.
we didn't see the Zats until season 2, beginning of season 2. And I think the only time we hear about the third kill wipes them out is in the first episode where we see them. And then Wormhole Extreme will say, well, that's ridiculous.
Or it makes them disappear. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I don't think they modified the Zats for the train. I think they're real Zats.
Yeah. They just make sure to only one tap them.
Yeah. Make sure the button's not sticky. Because I have a keyboard with some sticky keys, and every time I hit them, it hits it twice.
Yeah, I mean, I used to have that problem with my Duck Hunt controller. So
yeah.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Yeah, just the logistics of shutting down the entire base for and this is at least a day's worth of work, if not more.
Well, and they're not really shutting them down either.
No.
They're supposed to be doing it between teams coming and going, but then we had SG3 apparently got an emergency return.
And we didn't know. So who was the Gould that was chasing them? That's interesting, right?
Yeah.
Because how many are left, and who's shooting at who and chasing SG teams? And
can we get that episode, please?
Yeah.
And I like how everybody
that was an actual real thing that happened during this. That wasn't a part of the background of the test, Yeah. And that's why they had to call them off from the gate room.
And I like how everybody's they're just upset that they're inconvenienced that one of their teams was under fire and had to be brought in. It's like, oh, I'm sorry about that, but SG3 was had to come through the gate. It's like, well, couldn't they fight it? They don't say that, but it's
well, they were Marines, so I mean,
yeah.
Worry about them later.
Yeah. Negative SG3. We're in the middle of a cadet exercise.
Yeah, go see the Knox.
Yeah.
There's go find another set of crayons to have for lunch.
Yeah.
You'll be fine.
Try dialing one of the alpha sites or something, or maybe that black hole planet.
Go to the Dolan planet.
Yeah.
The Hammond did mention we had General Kerrigan again.
Yep.
And Hammond did mention that he's wanting to set up a training facility and all of that. So I think that was the second time he's mentioned that. So hopefully it works.
Well, they keep trying to set up alpha sites and off-planet study sites, and it always works out so well. No.
I do find it funny that this episode directly follows Wormhole Extreme, which is about a TV show about Stargate, and then this is more fake Stargate.
Yeah.
Yeah. But next week we get real Stargate, right?
What's that? 48 hours?
Should be one of Victor's
hours.
favorites.
Oh, yes. Yes, the introduction of Dr. Rodney McKay.
Oh, it is.
Mayborn's in it. Yeah, everybody's in this one.
It's a big one.
We get 2 episodes that introduce big characters. Rodney McKay next week, and then we have Summit after that where we get Ball.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
So
that's what I'm saying. I think they're saving their money, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's next week in our watching order, but that's not going to be next week on the podcast because next week we have Joseph Malazzi on.
Yay.
Yes.
For our 100th episode.
Yes.
So
Woo-hoo.
make sure you join us for that.
Yeah, we obviously pre-recorded the interview, and it was a fun interview, so it's definitely look forward to listening to it.
Mm-hmm.
And as you mentioned in the chat, Victor, he didn't like this episode very much either, apparently. So
That's right.
No, I mean, maybe not as he was maybe a little bit more reserved in his criticism of it, but yeah, that's why obviously he's been very outgoing to the fandom and a great resource as he's posted on his blog a rich oral history of Stargate, and we're able to delve into that a little bit with him in the interview, as well as maybe get, and I'm not going to spoil it here, but a little insight into the script that Brad Wright wrote for the Stargate relaunch that never happened.
Mm-hmm.
There may be a nugget of information there that has not made it out through any other means, or maybe it has, but you listen anyway. So
yeah,
it's a really good time.
We talk about some fun stuff.
Yeah. We also get to hear about the Space Gopher, which you can find that on Reddit, on the Stargate Reddit, where he shares all the concept art and stuff. I'll make sure to next week when the episode comes out, I'll make sure to drop that image in the Discord so everyone can see it.
Yes.
And would you talk a tiny bit about shipping?
Yes, we do.
Just a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. And
There was not room for Jello. There was not room
no
for Jello
talk.
Should have asked about that.
Yeah.
Should have asked. I didn't think about it.
Missed opportunity.
Yeah.
We'll have to have him back a couple seasons later.
200. Awesome. Did y'all have any other thoughts on this episode?
Nothing here. I think we pretty well vented our spleens on this one.
There was some alternate language, or not alternate, alternate titles in the language.
Oh, yeah. Let's hear those.
Yeah. So in French, this was Trial by Fire, which is L'épreuve de feu. In German, it's not proving ground. It's just a single word, trial. So very short in German, Bewahrungsprobe.
So
Bewahrungsprobe.
With the pattern we've been seeing with German titles, I'm surprised it wasn't, this is all just a test and none of it is real.
There you go.
Skip this week.
Yeah. Awesome. So I do have to let you guys know that this whole recording we just did, this was all just a test. So now we got to do the real episode. So
man, did we pass?
Yeah, did we get an A?
Yeah.
I'm a star student.
I don't know if the episode did.
Yeah. Am I still on this show? Have I been moved to Catholics of Science, or
you're getting moved to the Secrets of Kevin Sorbo because
nice.
Been mentioned enough times.
It's true that eventually you do. Yeah, you do find your dream job if you just stick it out long enough. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Before we go, we'd like to take a moment to thank our patrons who make it possible for us to create the Secrets of Stargate, including Anna Marie S., Kenneth W., Emily F., Jim W., and Luca C. Their generous donations at sqpn.com/give make it possible for us to continue the Secrets of Stargate and all the shows at StarQuest. And you can join them by visiting sqpn.com/give. And be sure to follow the show on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or on the SQPN YouTube channel. And to find previous episodes of Secrets of Stargate and to send us feedback, please visit sqpn.com/Stargate. And you can email us at stargate@sqpn.com or follow StarQuest on social media at facebook.com/StarQuestMedia or on Twitter at SQPN. And be sure to come over and check out our Discord at sqpn.com/Discord. And next week, we'll be back with our 100th episode with the interview with Joseph Malazzi. So make sure you tune in for that because it's going to be a lot of fun. Until then, Father Cory, thank you for joining me and sharing the Secrets of Stargate.
Well, thank you, Jack.
And Lisa Jones, thank you as well.
Thanks, Jack.
And Victor Lambs, thank you too.
Thanks, Jack. And that's not our normal centerpiece.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
We should get a centerpiece for the show.
We should.
Yeah. I feel like your background, Victor, on the video version on YouTube, Victor always has a fun background. So that's kind of our centerpiece.
Yeah.
And once again, I'm Jack Baruzzini. Thank you for listening to The Secrets of Stargate on StarQuest.
Anyway, I'm sorry, but that just happens to be how I feel about it. What do you think?